Creating from the heart the artistry of living. I'm here today with Dr. Janice Katz. So welcome, Janice Katz.
Thank you, Susie. Really appreciate being here and the opportunity. This is really fun.
So I've known Jan for a long time, very long time, since before she was married.
That's right. In fact, I believe that Susie was one of the first people that I met when we moved to Beverly Shores.
Amazing.
Right.
We had a lot of fun together, and we still do. I'm curious.
Yes.
Because I know Jan cares about children almost more than anybody I've ever met.
Oh.
How did that happen?
Well, it started when I was 10 years old, in that my sister was born with Down syndrome. And I found it fascinating to watch her develop and watch her grow. And so from the very beginning, I had a sense of the importance of early childhood, early intervention and early stimulation and things like that. So I knew that as a teenager growing up. Then I remember coming home from high school crying a lot because I was a bleeding heart for the people who had problems, and they may have confided in me. And, I would kind of take it in.
You're carrying a lot.
Right. And so a friend of my mom's said, why don't you grow up and be a clinical psychologist, which I had never heard of. I had heard of psychologists. And, at the time, there were negative connotations with that to some extent.
There were a lot. There still are.
Absolutely. But so I didn't know what that was. And then I went to my school counselor to get some suggestions about what that means. And through all that, because I got a gymnastic scholarship, I went to the University of Minnesota. And at Minnesota, I specialized, my major was in psychology with a specialty in child development, or a focus in child development. And my interest just continued to grow. Like, how does the mind work, and what makes us do the things we do, and things like that. So one of the other things that I did when I was there was I was the first research assistant on the Minnesota study of twins reared apart, where I learned just so much about the relationships between what you're endowed with genetically and the impact of life experiences. Now we call that epigenetics. At the time, I'm not sure what we call it. But I still found it really fascinating. And one of the nice things about University of Minnesota was that it had a lab school for little kids. And so you could, sit behind one-way glass and you could observe, the teachers and children in action at a very young age. And I just found that to be really rewarding. Then I went on to graduate school at Washington University in St. Louis and specialized in clinical psychology with, again, a focus on child and family. So then around the time I was completing my dissertation, and I took 1 year in Chicago to do my internship, because that was kind of how our program ran. Then the next year I went back to write my paper, my thesis, and I had to wait a little while for the faculty to get themselves together, but I couldn't wait to be here because my husband was here.
Yes.
By here I meant Chicago, but while we were living in Chicago, that my internship here, we found this beautiful house in Beverly Shores, which happens to be right next door to the house you were. And so we moved. I started practicing clinical psych at the medical group in Michigan City, which is now Franciscan on Cool Spring. And again, never stopped focusing on children. But one of the things that I saw was that my children, my patients, were getting younger and younger, and their problems were more and more severe. So then a few things converged. let's see, I started there in 1985. In 1989 or 1988, I got pregnant with my oldest, Josh. And then I thought, oh, what do people do in this town about childcare? Because I, have a career. So that started a big question. And when I went to examine what childcare options were, sometimes I was horrified. Some of it didn't look safe. The ratios were 1 adult to 25 kids in certain places. They didn't have structure, they didn't have play materials, they didn't have a curriculum. And so as I got to know this
the state of the world in Michigan City.
Right. Yes? I was able to figure out that there are certain components that should be built into any early childhood setting.
Thank you.
Okay. So I've got this checklist going on. Finally, I found a really nice home provider. But in the meantime, recognizing that I had this need at the medical group, I approached our executive director there, and the board, and I said, well, what would you guys all think about an on-site childcare program? And, some of the other doctors were really young. But this is the first life lesson I got from this, that if I have a problem and a need, I can't possibly be the only one. So
thank you.
I learned something else. Don't ever propose anything until you've done a needs assessment. So I just winged it, wung it. I don't know what the word is for that. I just created a questionnaire. I did have some training in statistics and measurement in school, so I knew how to analyze the data and things like that. So what I found was that there was a significant need at the medical group for childcare. And so, again, I like to do math, and so I crunched out some numbers and things like that, presented it to the board, and they're like, not you're out of your mind, but it was more like,
like, what are you thinking?
Where are we going to get that kind of money?
Right.
But a third life lesson, talk about things, because you don't know who knows something else.
And who's going to be listening.
And who's going to be listening.
And who might care.
Right. But it turns out at the time, there was a pastor whose name was Phil Emerson. And somehow, somebody connected us. I wish I could remember who that angel was that I could thank. But I reached out to him because he said that he was also looking to see if businesses needed to do something about childcare. And he learned that both hospitals, at this time we had St. Anthony, which is now Franciscan, and Memorial, this is before the two of those merged, the medical group, NIPSCO, Michigan City Area Schools, a couple of banks all had expressed a need for childcare.
Wow.
So we convened.
Yeah.
We all got together, and some of these people were CEOs, and some of them were human resource directors, and some of them were marketing people.
Good.
And that taught me quite a bit about how a business perceives itself, and perceives their corporate citizenship. In other words, are you a good corporate citizen? Do you give back to the community?
Right.
As a corporation? And it was very interesting. There was a group of maybe 8 or 9 of us that were committed to working on this. I guess I emerged as a leader because I certainly was the most pregnant. But
you were also, you had a vision.
I did. I always had a vision to start a lab school or something to that effect. So, right, so we continued to meet. We thought about doing it. We didn't know if we wanted to do a for-profit or a nonprofit. So we had Childcare and La Petite Academy come in and do a presentation to our group. And it was almost universal that the group of these CEOs and HR people wanted to go nonprofit. And I felt strongly that, if this is going to be something I can't say even then, it's never changed, that the economics of providing high quality childcare is tough. And if somebody, a director or whatever, is making money doing childcare, they're probably not paying their staff very well. That's my philosophy, and I think sometimes it's borne out. Most of the time it's borne out. So we decided to form as a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, and we called ourselves the Childcare Consortium. And we, as a group, hired a consultant from Chicago who ran a company called Corporate Childcare. So it's like perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And together, she and I designed a study, another needs assessment, to see what the need was. Also, what would the market bear? What amount would people actually pay? How many days would they need it? And what were the hours that they needed? So we developed such a survey. And again,
and got some answers.
Overwhelming need in the community. And so we looked around at many different places. We looked at the old Eastport School, where at one point Head Start was, and Boys and Girls Club was there for a while. We looked at a number of other lots and things like that, but I'm a member of Sinai Temple, and my husband and I were very involved at the time. And we just asked their board if we could start a small childcare center in their classrooms that are vacant during the week. And so they said yes.
Nice.
And that's how we got our feet wet. Meanwhile, I have Josh, my oldest, at, like I said, a really wonderful childcare home. And he was getting, some good nurturing and things like that. But we started our program at Sinai Temple, and we stumbled upon a name. I think it's possible wine was involved. I'm not sure. But it became Imagination Station. Right? So,
which is right around the corner from me today.
I know. So we're neighbors still. And so we had, again, a group of really dedicated parents. And one of them was Deb Chubb. And after 3 or 4 years of, I've often called it raising funds to build the Taj Mahal. Because we were in rented space and it was small and we had limitations. We always wanted to build a bigger center. So here's another kind of clever thing that I learned about working together. While we were searching, we were having trouble finding, again, something that would be suitable. The economics suggest that we should be licensable for about 100 children.
Okay.
And we, of course, needed to do infant care because that turned out to be a huge need. So we wanted to do a program 6 months to 6 years. And we worked with an architectural firm that had built child care centers before. Yeah, and the economics are such that infant toddler care is much more expensive to provide than preschool care. And the reason for that is the ratios and the staff qualifications.
Right.
So we wanted to build a building for about 100 kids. And my husband, Jeff, he and his partner were building Edgewood Forest.
Right.
Where someone I know lives. And
this was an area of 2 and 3 bedroom sort of homes for people who, generally speaking, are my age.
Right, and don't want a maintenance-free
existence
home.
Relatively.
Yeah, so Jeff and Jim asked me if I would like them to donate an acre of land to us to build this program. And so now this is in 1998-ish or so. And I'm like, yeah.
Right.
You
Okay.
kidding?
What can I do to help?
So we were really strategic. We were our architect suggested that our program would be about 1.2 million to build the building. And so in order to do that, obviously we needed significant startup. So with Jeff and Jim's $100,000 land, which is what it was valued at that time, that served as a seed to go back to the various businesses.
People that you had talked to who
Right.
said they needed it.
The hospitals, NISCO, Horizon Bank, right? It was interesting to kind of leverage one off another because they wanted to be, especially the competitors, wanted to go just a little bit more than their competitor, So I'm not sure who came in first, St. Anthony or Memorial, Horizon or Fifth Third, which I'm not sure if it was called that at the time. But, they kind of...
It helped.
It helped. It helped. And so I learned to leverage, which was really cool. And then one of the coolest things about leveraging was we had found out about a pot of money. The Indiana Department of Commerce had a pot of money called the Strategic Development Fund, where if companies or nonprofits, like, for example, at the time, it was primarily used by the steel mills so they could collaboratively do OSHA training for their entire employee pool. So you had multiple steel mills working together. Okay?
And training.
And so, I don't know, our little group of people thought, why wouldn't we be eligible? Because we are bringing together competing industries, competing companies within industries to pool their resources to address an infrastructure need. And in this case, our infrastructure was childcare for working parents. And so we wrote up this grant and we got it. And so when we got this grant, so we had already raised about $250,000 and we wrote the grant for about $250,000. Now we were halfway to where we wanted to be.
Yeah.
But the cutest little side story is that we had all these kids, 30 kids at Imagination Station. And for the groundbreaking, all those kids came over to Cool Spring.
I've got goosebumps.
With little shovels and dug in the dirt. And that was our groundbreaking. And it was super cute. So we started construction on that in 1998 or 9, and we were finished like in January of 2000 with the building. And we had started in 1995 at the synagogue, and so this is our 30th year anniversary.
Oh my gosh.
Did I tell you that?
No!
Yeah, so we've been in business as a nonprofit for 30 years, which is really, really cool. Another thing that was forming at the time was the Unity Foundation was working, was created, I think around 1995-ish. And they needed a kickoff project.
Oh!
So there we were. We were always trying to find a way to be in the right place at the right time.
You don't think you had to work too hard at it.
Oh, we worked really hard. We wrote so many grants. Oh, I learned how to write a grant. A lot of grants. So then we got this building built and opened the doors in 2000 to up to 100 children. It took not very long to fill up.
I'm sure.
Right. Oh, and there was also a childcare voucher assistance program. It's still there, barely, but the federal government block grants, it's called the Childcare and Development Block Grant, they grant it to states, and then states spend it.
Distribute, right.
And so in Indiana, it's called the Childcare Development Fund. That's relevant at the end of the timeline, which brings us to now in the future. So we discovered that we could, most of our families were eligible for vouchers. And so we were able to support the families with these vouchers. We have always been state licensed. That was, that was the most obvious thing that we were going to do. And we built this really beautiful childcare, child development center, imagination station. And from the beginning, even though when we were renting space, we weren't eligible for NACY, which is the National Association for the Education of Young Children. It's the highest accrediting body in the country. Mm-hmm. So we knew we wanted to be NACY accredited. And then through tremendous work with a wonderful staff and Deb at the helm, we were able to achieve NACY accreditation in 2004.
Oh, yeah. Holy cats, that's fast.
Yeah, it was really fast. You have to be in operation in a place for 2 years before you can even apply. So yeah, I wouldn't say we were fast tracked. We fast tracked that focus. We really wanted to make sure that we were doing everything, including building the building, in a way that's consistent with the NACY standards. So that was really exciting. And honestly, there are a couple of our staff from 2004 who are still with us.
Amazing.
Which is really, really cool. A lot of their kids grew up there. So let's see.
So it would seem to me that once you had created this, that the future would be cloning these.
Yeah, we looked in Chesterton. We looked to see if we could do something near the Coffee Creek development. And then for whatever reason, that kind of stalled. Mm-hmm. I think part of it was distracting us from the program
what you were doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was it, but that's kind of how I remember it. Mm-hmm.
You'd be glad to replicate it.
Yeah, so we did. Again, under Deb's leadership, we opened an imagination station classroom at Marsh School.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and at Knapp School. And they each had an extra room for us. And that was really cool to take the show on the road. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I learned in this process is, like I said about if I have a need, I'm sure other people do. Well, if our community has a need, I'm sure other communities do.
You.
Right? Mm-hmm. And if other communities do, what's happening at the state level? And that sort of helped me understand public policy. And now I feel like I understand it firsthand because we're living it. So my efforts connected me to a couple of organizations at the state level. One was the Indiana Association for Infant and Toddler Mental Health. Mm-hmm. And the other was the Indiana Association for the Education of Young Children. Uh-huh. So at any given time, I was on the road to Indianapolis because I joined some of those boards. I was on a number of the task forces. Ultimately, the Indiana Association for Education of Young Children got involved in a national initiative aimed at workforce development and compensation. And so I was invited to participate as a representative from Indiana at a national committee. And there were a couple of different national avenues for that. So I went to Washington, D.C. for some things. I went to New York for other things, and really learned about the landscape of childcare in our country. Mm-hmm. And makes you feel a lot less alone when you see that there is a universal need that is not unlike your own.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So I learned a lot about that, and another neat thing that happened, well, I don't want to say it was a neat thing. There was an organization that was running Head Start of LaPorte County. And after so many years of that program being run by a certain group, it became available for bid. So we thought, again, you said broaden your footprint or
Yes.
whatever. Yes. So we thought, well, I mean, a Head Start is a perfect thing to do. And it's perfect because it's comprehensive services. Not unlike what was at the lab school in Minnesota, right? And when I had first come to Michigan City, one of the things I did was consult at Head Start on challenging behavior. So I already knew some things about Head Start. Nowhere near what I know now. But for one thing, the grant is a monster. It's hundreds and hundreds of pages. Deb and our friend Susan Pound, may she rest in peace, worked really hard on that grant. And we were just so excited to pull the connections together to expand the program. And at this point, I think the Marsh and Knapp imagination stations may have closed already or not, because Michigan City Schools' needs changed, you know? And so we,
Sorry.
That's okay. They were willing to, MCAS was willing to work with us, and they essentially donated Neiman School to us.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really important because for a federal grant like Head Start, you have to have a local match every year. And that counted.
Great.
Local match. So over there now we're licensed for 140 something children.
Oh my.
And we also have a site in LaPorte at Bethany Church. And so what's really cool about these programs, about Head Start, and it's kind of set apart from Imagination Station, only because they have funding for it, and Childcare does not have funding for this. It's called Comprehensive Services. So there's a group of social workers who work with all the families on goal setting and overcoming barriers to self-sufficiency. Children are there learning. Between the two programs, we've got outstanding curricula, and we do all of our professional development together.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What a gift.
So there's sister programs.
Yeah.
Sister programs. But and we work together really, really closely.
Nice.
I mean, we're kind of working with our sister, as I kind of think of it.
Right.
So, I mean, who wouldn't have fun doing that?
No, right. For sure.
Over the 30 years that we've been in existence, it's a little bit of a roller coaster sometimes. A lot of it depends on what's happening in the economy and in the legislature. So,
State and national.
And the challenges are that, we want to move toward higher and higher quality programs.
Yes.
Which means
because those make a difference.
They make a huge difference.
Make it happen again.
Exactly. So yes, high quality is expensive, and finding qualified staff to be accredited by NACI, to be state licensed, and to be a Head Start program, the specifications are pretty high, which again makes it a little more expensive. No, Head Start is federally funded.
Right.
Imagination Station relies on government vouchers. And what has happened with the new Big Beautiful Bill Act,
yes,
if you want to call it that, some people do want to call it that, they did not increase Head Start or the Childcare block grant budget at all. It's frozen at 2024 levels, maybe even 2023 levels. A lot of states, for example, New Mexico, has decided as a state to come in and provide universal childcare and preschool. Right. And
I mean, why wouldn't you? That's investing in your future.
I don't know. I think that, we have had some good legislation at the federal level over the years, and then we've had some that have really stagnated. And in Indiana, we have not risen. We have not risen the way New Mexico has to increase the state support
Commitment
for it. So, that was well supported by, our senators, Ronnie Pohl, and at the federal level, Frank Mervan. They were all about, seeing this as an infrastructure need and addressing it as such.
I want you to say that again so that people understand that childcare is an infrastructure need. It's like the building block that you need to have in place if you're going to have future people working in your state.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and the more you invest at that level,
right,
the easier it is long term.
There's some really great research from the Federal Reserve and some other scientific bodies who have done the math. They took a study from the 60s. Ypsilanti was the first site of Head Start, and there was a Chicago program, and there was another high quality early program, and they studied the children in those programs longitudinally until now, and the research, and they're still doing this. A guy at Harvard is doing some of this work too. Yale's working on it to continue longitudinal research. But what we've determined is that for every dollar that was spent in 1965,
right,
it's like $7 of savings. And that includes the fact that more people who had high quality early childhood education experiences are in the workforce and paying taxes, right?
Yes.
They finished high school, they finished many college, which increases the earnings for your family, so it raises the socioeconomic status of the entire society,
right,
if you will. And why the Indiana legislature doesn't see
grasp
it
that
as an infrastructure investment, if they could understand that they should not refer to it as a cost, but as an investment.
Thank you. Because in the long run, just like a well-advised bank account, it's going to increase.
Absolutely.
The benefit.
Yeah, so...
And be there long term.
Yes, exactly. Which brings us to today.
Yes, Jan.
Today. So I had Chris Pate from the United Way has been my friend for decades. And she's a great ear. But when I had heard that because of the decisions at the state level and the federal level, that there is a 1-year waiting list for vouchers. If you went to the FSSA website today and inquired about vouchers, it would say there will be no more vouchers awarded in 2025 until the end of the fiscal year, which is till June 30th, 2026. Which means that despite the fact that a program like ours has spaces for infants and toddlers and phenomenal teachers who are there with open arms waiting for those babies, unless somebody has been on the waiting list at the state level for about a year, they're going to keep waiting. So here's the silver lining.
Tell me.
So I'm
I need one.
commiserating. Commiserating with my friend Chris Pate. We have been a United Way agency since the beginning, from the very beginning, in the 90s. And we still receive an allocation for the United Way, from the United Way. And we're free to use that in any way we see, because we've used it for our summer school age program. We've used it for many different things. But so Chris said, I don't want to use names because it's a confidential family foundation. But so Chris said, have you ever heard of so-and-so? And I said, her name's really familiar, but I can't really place her. And she told me about this foundation that is focused on education and family self-sufficiency type things. And it's like ding, ding, ding. So I had a nice conversation with her a couple weeks ago. And together we're forming a program. So as you know, Jeff and I have an event every year, a benefit event.
It raises money.
It raises money. It's kind of a concert. And then Jeff and I match whatever amount has come in. And so this year I don't want to say amounts because that's awkward. But what we decided with the United Way is that we're going to create a pool. And this family foundation, it's not in stone, but was very excited about creating a childcare tuition assistance fund. So while it doesn't solve the problem that our government doesn't see childcare as an infrastructure to be addressed through government support, there's a philanthropy in our community who is willing to rise up. And, at some point I'd like to go back to some of the original businesses, many of whose children we take care of, and I probably will. But just, the notion that there is something of a safety net means people will be, while they're on the voucher waiting list, they'll be able to put their kids in our program. So the problem's not solved yet.
Right.
But I think
our
we're well on
problems
our
ever
way.
solved.
No, and it's...
There's always something to chew on.
Yeah, the legislature goes as the wind blows.
Yeah.
And, and that causes waves, just like Lake Michigan today.
Yes, right.
Right. So
I don't think you're done working.
No. I retired from my clinical practice. I left the medical group in 2004. Went to a community mental health center for a year and determined I don't love paperwork. So I opened a private practice. And that was in 2005. And I retired at the end of 2019. So I'm just doing this volunteer stuff. Oh, I forgot to tell you one really important thing.
Yes.
So in 2019, I had been on and off the board at, it used to be Michiana Industries and Michiana Resources. Now it's called Paladin. I'd been on and off of that board for a long time. And that CEO of Paladin joined my board.
Stevie Hoppy?
No, this was,
That's okay.
yeah, Bill Trovich. He was on our board, I was on their board. Actually, there was a lot of overlap in the two boards. So I just woke up, it was over like the winter holiday and like New Year's 2019. And I thought, I'm going to call Bill. Bill, why don't we merge our programs?
Yeah.
And the United Way board went along with that. I'm not United Way, the Paladin board went along with that. And by July 1st, we had merged with Paladin. So my two passions, people with special needs
Yes.
and early childhood education,
Are married.
are married. And I'm still serving on the board. I'm delighted I'm not the president of anything. But yeah, so that brings us to now. I should take a breath. I get excited.
What lies ahead?
What lies ahead? I don't know. I mean, one of my.
Have you thought about writing a book?
I already wrote a book.
You did?
You don't have my book?
No!
Oh, it's called Guiding Children's Social and Emotional Development, a Reflective Approach.
That's good. How about a how-to book?
I started it in like 2004. I remember working on it. I don't know if technology will allow me to go back that far. But yeah, I think it's an exciting story.
Yeah.
And,
It's a up by your bootstraps, meet the need that's there that nobody's paying any attention to.
yeah.
I'm sure there are others, but I'm really wedded to this one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your openness to it. So yeah, maybe I'll write another book. It was really fun to write the first one.
Was it?
Yeah,
Well, this would be fun too because it's only a good story.
it is a good story. Yeah,
And think of all the other communities who could use the how-to.
yeah. I think it would be an interesting story. I just finished writing what I would call a memoir, but I don't know how to call it that, about growing up in a family with Down syndrome.
Uh-huh.
I'll share that with you.
I would love to. You now owe me 2 books.
Well, I should probably give you the other one that I already got published. Well, I just wanted to add one thing, that my second son, Justin, was the first graduating class of Imagination Station.
Hey.
Yeah, and the kids are doing really well now. One of them is a chemist, research and development, and Justin is a math professor at Ohio State University.
Amazing.
So,
see?
yeah, just want to add
It
that.
works.
It works. High quality early education.
It's been fabulous to chat with you.
Yeah,
I love it.
I've really enjoyed it.
And keep the good work going about early childhood education because all of our lives depend on it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you.